How's things with you?
Great. I also disqualified two people this morning. One didn't have funds as well. And then the other one, what happened with that one? I don't even remember. Well, yes, he's in the army and he didn't have the time to go through our program, but he had the funds. And that's kind of one of my questions. It's like, how do I know if I should pursue it and kind of tell him that no, but like you could get in and we would help you out, or should I just like let him go and let him do his thing and he will come back like once he's ready? That's I'm never sure if I should just be like, okay, so you don't think that right now is the best time, then I'm just gonna like follow up. I never know if I should do that or try to convince him to like, no, but like we could do this for you. No, no, no. So I let him go this morning, but maybe I shouldn't have. Like he was ready, like he had a lot of funds and he wanted to change like his life. And yeah, so that's one of my main concerns at the moment.
I think I have a sub question to that, Taylor, and just to open up that topic. Um, how deep on the setting calls do you have the setters go into more like a rational type of question, like why is it important for you to do this now, versus go more like, hey, if there was to be alignment with what we do and your goals and everything, is there anything that could be in the way of you potentially getting started on something like this right now? More like looking for logistical obstacles that could be something versus getting like I think the rational is more like emotional kind of commitment and
Yeah.
timing together. But like how, because sometimes the set call, you don't have enough leverage to go and get that like commitment to the now necessarily. So it's kind of like the closer job as well on the call to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm kind of like torn between the two. I've been closing most of my career, so I'm curious how deep should the setters go on that and keep some on the calendar, or set them or not set them based upon that.
I
For
guess
sure. So
I guess the topic, my bad. When pushback, when you have to push back, and when you have to convince someone. I,
yeah.
I guess.
So there's like three different modes there. I'll try and answer yours first. I think 90% of me tells me you already know the answer to that question, because I think you know that convincing someone feels uncomfortable. It's something that, like, if you are a prospect and someone's trying to do that to you, you probably don't appreciate it. Nobody likes to be convinced, but everybody loves to convince themselves or buy into something themselves. So I'm never going to go on the aspect of like trying to sell them into it externally, because external pressure waves off very, very quickly, right? And it doesn't lead to internal commitment. I want to create internal tension with prospects. And so, like, to answer your question, if it's the way I focus on figuring out how deep do I go, it's all, I always focus on meeting the prospect where they're at. Certain prospects are very, very open with me, right, and will give me so much info, so many details, but my primary job is how can I make the closer's job easier. That's all I'm thinking about. And so I want to get as much context as I can. It's going to tell me if the prospect has got a very strong action threshold, if they're actually committed to doing this, and if they're aware of it, and then all of the logistical barriers, there's nothing there that's going to prevent them from actually getting started. So for me, that's my primary focus. For some people, with them being a lot more open, then that's going to make it a lot easier for me to dive into all of those things. But for certain prospects that are, let's say, less problem aware, a little less solution aware, my focus would be on getting like the surface level as far as logisticals, right? And then just letting the closers know in advance, like, hey, this could be an issue for someone, this could be a potential objection, just kind of making their lives easier that way. But ultimately, you can then focus on nurturing those people that are a little bit less problem aware and solution aware as well, rather than just setting them straight away. So it's a very situational thing. I just want to like meet the prospect where they're at, essentially. In that situation where that person from the army, you found out a time where they felt like they was perhaps ready. I think you said they were quite excited to start something, but it was just they mentioned something about like timing. How did that come about in the conversation? Just
Yeah,
curious.
well, he was very open right from the start. He told me like a monologue of everything like in his life and how he was like tired of his situation. He didn't tell me his job right away, He
Yeah.
told me near the end, and that's where like we were about to not to schedule the meeting because it's a qualification. So I just had like to make sure that he was ready for this meeting. And at the end, I told him like what we're doing, how this is like a program, and we help people build like financial liberty, And I told him that, and he took like 3 seconds to like think. And like right after that, he told me, no, but like I'm in the army, so like I'm really interested in this program, but at the moment, like I don't think that this is the right time for me to start. And I was like, okay, so when you come back, and he was like a year and a half, like, so that's kind of that's a long time. So I was like, okay, and I tried to connect, and I tried to like let him think that we could help him, but he was very like he was nonchalant, and he didn't want to tell me like yes, but he did think that canceling the meeting was the best thing at the moment.
Yeah.
And I kind of agreed because I didn't want to force him. And I thought, yeah, I think you should wait because we really want you to be ready. And he agreed with me. So I don't know if that's just letting it go or if I should have pursued, but I didn't. I just thought that
For me, the way I'm thinking of that situation is it's neither situation. I just want to get more visibility on it. I don't fully understand it. What the first thing that comes into my mind is, okay, you want to get started in a year and a half, which is 18 whole months, even though there's this situation going on, there's this happening. Like, first of all, are you okay to settle for the same stuff you have been dealing with for the next 18 months? And the second thing is, if it is the case that you're starting in 18 months, what made you opt in to look into what we do now? Like, there's those two things that I need visibility on for me to fully understand. Like, what was your intention behind then submitting your information to us to learn more? I guess I'm curious. Help me understand that a bit
yeah.
more.
Yeah, I think like I asked that, and he said that he wanted to build like a plan for when he gets out. So that's
Okay.
what he wanted to
Did he
like
say that at the beginning or at the end of the call?
near the end when I said, what's his vision? Like, what do you want to do? And what do you expect from the meeting? And that's where he said that he was looking for information. And then I mentioned that this is not like just info calls. That's where we talk about what we do and if it's the right fit for you. So that's where he said that he's very interested, but he doesn't think that right now is the right time. And I tried to pivot that and trying to
Yeah.
see, but I don't know, it was just kind of weird near the end. I didn't know like
I think
if
for
I
that
should have
person,
kept him.
he seemed very lean out and just wanted to know what options he had so that when he does come back, he can get into something. So it's more a case like rely on marketing to keep him engaged in that 18 months. Then maybe we'll bring him in 18 months later. But another thing I just like is that first point I made. I want to know like if he's okay with settling for doing the same stuff for 18 months. If he's okay with that, he's cool with it. There's nothing I can do. I can't just create urgency out of thin air, even if I try and externally motivate the guy. But like, you could get started sooner, and then in 18 months you'll be in a better position. Like, we can suggest all of those things, but I even want to understand, like, does he actually want things to be better in these 18 months before he
Well, he
actually
did, yeah. He did because he said that like he had just bought this house and he thought that he had to wait 3 years to like refinance. Like I don't know what are the terms in English, but like he wanted to yeah. So he thought that he had to wait 3 years, and he said that that's like way too long, and he was looking for like strategies to like accelerate this process.
Oh, okay.
And I said, okay, yeah, so that's what we do. Like, we will help you out. And then when I mentioned near the end that, like, this is like a program where it's like a couple of thousands for the year, and he was interested. He just said, well, I'm in the army, so that was like a game changer. Like that's a huge deal for him. And
Right.
yeah, so he just said, I'm very interested. I just don't think that right now. And he didn't say I don't think, like he said it's not the right time. Like the
Very
words were like
concrete.
pretty solid.
Yeah.
And I knew that he wouldn't change his mind. And he was open near the end because we had made like a connection. And he just said, I'm just gonna be honest. I don't think that right now is the right time. Like I'm just joining the
Yeah.
army, and so I don't know. But
That's the main thing is like
weird.
I don't want to do either like push them away or like try and convince them, but it's just the case of I just want clarity. That's
Yeah.
it. And if I get that clarity, then it's easy for me to go, okay, it doesn't make sense for us to work together.
Yeah.
We'll reconnect in 18 months. Or you're getting in your own way, you're creating excuses as to why you can't do this and accelerate the process, like you said. It's like help me understand like what is holding us back here. Like it's an open adult conversation. Like let me know what's up.
Yeah.
I want to understand if it's either of those 2 points. So for me, it's just gaining clarity. The more context that I gather, it's easy for me to then make an informed judgment on where's best to go. So that's why, like, if you come to these calls and you feel like, should I do this or should I do that? Most likely the solution is you probably could have clarified on something in that call for you to get full context on knowing what to do. Right. So
And by clarifying, you mean we should just ask more questions about whether or not he's ready or if it's the right thing for him right now. Like in this situation, I understand your point, and I think it's so true. Like I should have just said, okay, so are you? Yeah, I should have. Yeah, so I should have just like asked him if he's comfortable in his situation.
From what you said he wants to accelerate the process.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's the words he used.
The way I'd bring it up is I'm like, well, yeah, I totally understand, no problem. I'm just a little confused. Pause. He's going to be more inquisitive. You're pulling him in because he's going to understand what like why are you saying that. So I want to create that curiosity. So you mentioned obviously wanting to accelerate the process. You mentioned about this refinance that's taken 3 years and you want to make that quicker. However, you're in the army right now, so we need to delay by 18 months. I guess, can you help me understand what like accelerating the process comes into this with like getting started with real estate? Just so I know from your side, right? And it's just you're using the words that they've said because it's very clear that there's an incongruency. He wants things to be faster. He wants to put things off, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not asking because I want to sell him or unsell him. I just literally want to understand from his side, like where's there's a lack of congruency. Just help me get clarity.
Yeah.
Right? So
because he had the funds, like he was ready.
You just play
to,
confused,
go through.
basically.
Yeah.
But is it okay to say like something like this? Example, so if I understand correctly, like becoming financially free is not a priority for you right now. Even if we build like the best game plan for you right now, it's not a priority for you.
I think it's too direct, right?
It comes across the wrong way as well. It's like, oh, is it not a priority for you then? It's almost like demeaning. If I get asked that question, I'm like, shut up. I do want to work on it. It's just not now. Like that's how I'd react to that as a prospect, to be honest. So I don't like that question. I would only ask it if their intentions and their actions are very incongruent. And if you've got a lot of rapport and connection with that person, you've connected really well, then yeah, be direct, no problem. But if you're quite leaned out, that person's leaned out, then I would not go in that much. They would just get turned off by it ultimately. So you just got to read the room with where you're at with the prospect and how much you've actually gathered as far as context. The more context you do gather and the more of the truth that you find out that they actually are very incongruent with what they want and their actions, then you call it out as it is and say, well, it doesn't sound like it really is a priority for us then. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. But I come across neutral though. I'm not like, oh, it's not a priority for you then. That's not going to come across right. But I'm coming across neutral when I'm asking it. That's the important thing. So, yeah. Obviously, there was 3 questions that you guys brought up there. I don't know if that's addressed it or let me know if there's any gaps or questions around what we've covered just there.
No, that makes sense.